The change in the world of female journalists is night and day. When I started, as I said, people would say, we don't hire women to do that. Now they do hire women, and in fact at the entry level there are more women than men, and part of that is a reflection of what happens in journalism schools. My husband teaches journalism and he rarely gets boys. Of course my view of that is that sends the whole pay scale down, but the fact is at the beginning levels there are lots and lots of women. You start to see them weeded out as they progress and get to higher and higher levels. But it is still a very, very different world.
When did you see the behavior towards female journalists change? There's a story you tell about Strom Thurmond.
Well, Strom Thurmond was that way with everybody, with journalists, politicians, voters. but behavior, I think behavior by and large started to change just as more and more women came into journalism and made it clear that they were not going to put up with the hand on the knee. That went on for a very long time, though. I mean, you would be at one of these press dinners and some senator would put his hand on your knee, and you know, I would sort of pick it up and put it on the table and say, I think this belongs to you. But it's remarkable how long that went on. Certainly now, with the Me Too movement, they'd be scared to death, and that's a good thing.
You've written so much about women's roles in history with your books. Do you see this as a pivotal year for women, much like they called 1992 the year of the woman?
There are so many years that I called the year of the woman that it's embarrassing. But 92 actually was, and this year probably will be. More women have been nominated than ever before in history. Now they're not all going to win, certainly, and many of them are running in seats that they don't have a prayer. But I think we're likely to see more women as a result of this. But even aside from women being elected, women's voices have been raised. When I was on the air for the day of the Kavanaugh hearings, I couldn't get over it. My Twitter account was filled with women saying, I was accosted when I was 4 years old. I've never talked about it until today. I was in high school, my high school teacher did it, my mother didn't believe me. I'm now 76 years old and 30 years ago this happened to me. I mean, it was actually upsetting because there was just one after another of these 240 character horrible stories. And you sat there saying, dear Lord, you know, how many women, and of course we know the numbers are high, almost 2/3, but there they were telling their personal stories, and they're not going to stop now.
Do you think there's a special responsibility for female journalists and reporters?
There's been a special responsibility for female journalists and reporters to talk about how public policy affects women, how women in public office behave, how women voters are different from men voters. That's been something I've done throughout my career.